What's up? Welcome to another one of my videos. I should have posted this earlier, but I'll be honest, I got a bit confused because I made that first video here in this exact same room, talking a little bit about what I do, how I do it, and how you can actually do it too. You watching this, yeah, exactly. But then I got into this loop of thinking that if I wanted to do high quality YouTube videos, probably needed a high quality script, and I got into writing this, but now that I look at it, I realize that that's not who I want to be. I want to be authentic, and I think what made that video so special for me and for you who watched it probably is that I was being authentic too. I was being genuine, and I was just actually saying what was on my mind. So I'm going to do the same thing here today, even though I am going into a bit of a different thing, because what I really want to do is I want to take a wild guess, right? You're watching this, and I know this for a fact. You're 18 to 25, and you're in a life that you haven't chosen. You're either in a job you don't like, you're at uni like I was 2 years ago, and you're trying to figure out a way to make your first few dollars online, which is amazing, it's great, but if you're anything like me, you probably fell into the YouTube rabbit hole where everyone is trying to sell you a different business model or a way of making money online, but all of them have a few flaws, right? Every single business out there, every single idea has flaws. It's normal, it's part of it. But what I wanted to do today is I chose 5 of the most common ways that people will try to actually make online money, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Compare them on a few key characteristics that the gurus promoting them will never talk to you about, and see exactly who's the winner, okay? What is the best way to make money online in 2025? That's what I want to break down. So let me talk to you about the 5 ways that I've chosen to talk about today. So the first one is going to be dropshipping. This one is like the king of making money online. Every single guru out there talks about this one. It's basically selling physical products without needing to have any storage, right? So you're basically paying to send products from China directly to people buying it, but they do it through your website, so you end up taking a cut on that sale, right? It seems easy, but again, we'll look into it a little bit later. The second one is going to be info products. This one is so big right now, and it's being so hyped online, but the reality is it's not as simple as it seems to be, but it's basically selling a course, selling a coaching program, anything that has to do with selling information to people online. Third is going to be content creation. Who does not love this one? It's basically being a glorified influencer, right? You're creating content about something you like or just your lifestyle, and you can make money with brand deals, or again, there's other streams of income, but brand deals probably the main one, or even YouTube for the time being. If you're a YouTuber and you're getting good return on your videos, then you can actually make money with YouTube directly, right? Fourth is going to be the agency model. This one has been so overhyped for the past few years in the online world. It's actually crazy, but we're going to deep dive into it today. And the fifth one is appointment setting. This is the way that I've managed to make over $17,000 in commission just last month. I didn't even have to work more than 4 or 5 hours a day, but I know that it's not for everyone, but I want to break it down and compare it to the other ones that I've chosen to show you in this video. It's important to note that these ways are all so hyped up because they're sexy, right? All of them make it seem like you're not going to have to work too much or even have like insane freedom while you are working. But it's important to understand that most of the gurus promoting their own ways and secrets, they'll never tell you the bad things about it. That's just part of the reality. Let's now dive into the 6 metrics that matter the most when you're analyzing a way of making money, right? First, we've got startup costs. This one is so important because what does it matter if you have to spend like 15K to get into it, right? Because you could probably make a lot of money with real estate, but if you don't have 100K to your name, you'll never be able to get a down payment in the first place. So you're not going to have a house, you're not going to be able to make money with it. So startup cost is definitely up there in terms of importance when you're starting something. Next is going to be time to your first 1K, right? Because we're all human. And if you're watching this, your attention span is probably terrible like mine, to be honest, because of TikTok and Instagram Reels. And so how fast you can actually get to that first 1K will make a big difference because of first motivation and then how it keeps you going, right? Because if you only have 3 months of summer before going to uni and you can only make your first 1K in 6 months, you're going to be forced to go to that uni, take that degree, even though you don't want to do it, right? So that's super important also. Third one is going to be flexibility, the most important one in my opinion, because I want to be able to work from wherever the frick I want to be. If it's Thailand, if it's Dubai, if it's my grandma's house, I want to be able to choose, and you probably do too. Then we've got saturation, super important. How many people are already doing this, right? Because the higher the competition, the harder it's going to be to obviously show that you're different and actually be able to make money with it. Next is we have fulfillment complexity, because if something is too hard to fulfill, you'll never be able to do it long term, especially because you probably don't have any real skills right now, which is normal. So we need something easy to fulfill. And the last one obviously is going to be income type. Is it recurring? Is it one-off? This one is super important. So let's dive in. Dropshipping. This one is pretty straightforward. It's really sexy. It's really hyped up online, but the startup cost is really, really high. You need to test products, test ads, and if you're lucky, it'll basically cost you 1 to 3K to actually start. And this is if you're successful after spending that money. But then when you're thinking about the time to your first 1K, this will be at least usually 2 to 6 months because you're spending so much time testing products. So for most people, it never happens actually. Flexibility is actually medium because half of your time is going to be spent solving issues with products, manufacturing, and all of that side of things, obviously, which is more logistical, but it's part of it. Saturation here is as high as it gets, right? Everyone talked about it online for years. It's just what it is. It's highly saturated. It's going to be very hard to differentiate yourself, and everyone's selling a course on it. That's how you know that it's already done, right? Because not every single kid who buys a 1K course will become a millionaire with a business model. We all know this. Fulfillment complexity here is actually medium, not as high as some people will think. It's pretty straightforward actually creating a website, finding good manufacturers, even though it can be hard, but I would rate it as a medium here. Income type is mostly one-off because unless you're building a real brand, people will not come and buy from you again and again. So it'll be mostly one-off, and because it's mostly gadgety and kind of like dumb stuff, it will be mostly emotional and you're basically always chasing your next customer. Next up is info products. Again, Iman Gadzi, all these gurus, they're all preaching this now because it's basically having an audience and selling them a course or a coaching program. And it seems sexy, right? Because you could build a course and basically resell it in your sleep and make money with it, but it's not as simple as it seems. So in terms of the startup cost, you'll probably need 1 to 3K because obviously you still have to build a funnel, get a solid offer together. And obviously, even once you have that solid offer, you need to drive traffic, right? So either run ads or if you already have an audience, which most people do not have realistically. Then if we're talking about time to your first 1K, this will be around 4 to 12 months, depending on where you're at, but you need to build so much trust with people before they actually buy, right? It's not an emotional sale like a €2 gadget in the dropshipping kind of model, for example, but it's a more of an emotional sale because people want to buy because it's from you specifically. They want to buy from you watching this, right? And the thing with building trust is it takes time, consistency, and yeah, it's never simple to build with anyone, right? Flexibility is medium. Once it's running, it actually seems simpler than what it actually is, because it can be low maintenance once you have it set it up the right way, but it can also be a full-time job just getting to that point, basically. Fulfillment complexity here is really freaking hard because you're building a whole business. You need to be good at sales, marketing, and fulfillment of product creation, right? You're creating a course, you're creating a coaching program, then you have to fulfill on it and all of the things that go around selling it, the marketing, the sales calls, all that stuff. So there's like 1,000 different skills you need to learn to actually be able to do this in the right way. Then income type is mixed because you can obviously have recurring revenue, but as most of you will know, with info, it's really hard to create MRR because it's like buying a book and having to pay for it every single month. Most people will not pay for information on a recurring basis unless you're adding stuff to it or gamifying it, like obviously the biggest charts in the game do it. Content creation. This one is so good because it's the one that seems the easiest, but it's actually probably one of the hardest to actually make money with. Being a content creator is easy. Look at me, I picked up a camera and I'm filming myself. Making money through it, that is way harder. Startup cost here is pretty low. You can literally start with this, a phone, and yeah, that's it. You can film with your phone, edit with your phone, post with your phone, and worst case scenario, $500 if you want a good mic or a good camera. So that's pretty straightforward in that sense. Flexibility is so high on this one, probably one of the best, because you can literally do it from anywhere, right? You see it with all these content creators. They're in Bali, they're in Bora Bora, they're in Thailand, because it is very high flexibility on this business model or this way of making money online. Saturation here is high because most niches are crowded, right? You get into a space, you want to do fitness content, sales content, business content, all of it is so crowded already. It's going to be really tough to get in and make a place for yourself, basically. Fulfillment complexity here is medium, but don't forget that you're shooting, editing, posting, engaging with an audience. That is not that simple, and it's most of all not as simple as people want to make it seem. It's a very tough job with a lot of different skills that you need to stack on top of each other, basically. Income type here is mixed. You can make one-off money, or with some brands, you can obviously have recurring deals, but it is tougher, and yeah, it's mixed, I'd say, kind of a hybrid in this sense. We now dive into the agency model. This one is very, very big in the online space. You saw a lot of gurus hype up SMMA for a long time, which obviously was social media marketing agency. That is not the biggest one I've seen out there right now, at least. And I know that my algorithm personally is built to actually get all of this stuff in. So I know that the biggest agency model there is out there right now is AI agency and UGC agency. So any of those are really hyped up, but they're not as simple as they seem. So let me dive into it. Startup cost here is pretty low because you can actually fulfill the service without paying anyone. You can do it yourself, but you have to obviously maybe buy a course to learn how to do it, or even use just outreach tools to actually get your first client, because it's not as simple as posting a video on Facebook and getting a client, really. Time to your first 1K here is 1 to 3 months, realistically, if you put in the work and if you're decent at sales, which most people aren't when they're starting out their journey. Flexibility here is medium, because at the end of the day, you work remotely, but once you land a client, they're going to be asking you for a lot of things in the back end. So never forget that it's not as flexible as it looks, because they're going to want communication all the time on what's happening with their business. Saturation here is probably the highest that we've seen in this video, maybe tied up with dropshipping, because everyone's hyped it up for the past few years, and it's so saturated at this point. I don't know anyone who didn't try to build an agency at the beginning of their journey. I tried myself with one of my best friends. We failed miserably, but it taught us a lot, made us realize we had no skills and that we were gonna get nowhere if we had no skills also. Fulfillment complexity here is the hardest from all of the ones that I've noted today, because you need to run a full-on business. Marketing, sales, fulfillment. This is so tough, and it's B2B sales. So remember, you're selling to business owners, which is probably one of the hardest things you can do in the game. It's really, really tough to do. When you're starting out, you don't have these skills. You have to build this skill set with something else and then stack it up over each other, and then you can build a business. Income type here is recurring, which is great. That's the main pro of the agency model, is you can sign a $5,000 a month client and just obviously get that recurring revenue, and you don't need too many clients to build a good MRR for your pocket, basically. Last but definitely not least is going to be appointment setting, which obviously is what I do, but I want to break it down in the most unbiased way I can, right? So startup cost here is probably the best we've seen in the video, because it's literally $0, right? You're learning the skill. You can easily outreach to people to actually get a job, and learning the skill you can do with my videos and a bunch of videos online. Realistically, you don't need to spend any money to learn this skill. Time to your first 1K is going to be 2 to 6 weeks. I know this not because of my own experience, I took longer, but all of the people that I've worked with personally, like some of my best friends who I helped, actually started making money in their first month working as appointment setters. So I know for a fact that it's doable. You just have to be in the right places and make space for progress and humility, obviously. seriously. Flexibility on this one is so high. You can choose the times you work at. You can open your calendar when it makes sense. If you're a DM setter, you can DM people whenever you want during the day. You just have to be on top of it to reply, but flexibility is really high on this one. You can do it from anywhere in the world. So yeah, hard to beat. Saturation here is really low. Why? Because there's way more demand than offer. Because there's online businesses basically being built every single day, right? The internet is getting bigger, AI is getting bigger. So people are building businesses, and literally every single business selling a high ticket product or service will need an appointment setter. Even for lower ticket services like what I'm doing with one of my clients, which is a software, they're selling a like $500 a month package, but they still pay me really well. So it's definitely something doable, not only on high ticket offers, but any online business will need an appointment setter to help them grow. Fulfillment complexity here is really, really easy, right? You get on calls, you qualify people, and you book them in for a closer. It's hard to make it easier than this. You're literally on repeat, getting on calls, learn how to handle a few objections, then you just have to do it every single day. Commissions fall into your pocket. So I know it sounds easy said like this. It is a tough skill to learn. It will take you maybe a few weeks, but nothing compared to actually running a full entire business. Income type here is recurring, which is great because if you sign a client that gives you a 1K base plus commissions, you're going to be getting 1K every single month regardless, and then commissions on top, which is really, really sweet. I think the biggest advantage that I see with appointment setting compared to anything else is that as an appointment setter, you have to remember you're basically a spy, because you come into these businesses and you work really closely with founders, closers, marketing teams, and you learn about all these things while making money. So you could either make a pretty simple choice that I decided to make. Either drop everything, go to a university and pay to learn, or you can work with these companies as a setter and get paid to learn how to run a business in the shadow, right? While you're making money. And then after a few months, you learned all this stuff and you can do whatever you want to do. Build a business, keep being an appointment setter, become a closer. It gives you so much opening. So I definitely think it's one of the best ways to make money online in 2025. I don't want to hype it up too hard, but the demand is there. So if you're ready to learn, just hit me up on Instagram. I'll put it up here. I'll help you, guide you on a journey. Obviously, my goal here is really to have as many people as I can change their lives with this way, because it changed everything for me the second I went all in on it. So yeah, if you're ready to go and you actually want to learn how to do this, then hit me up on Instagram and watch this video that I'm going to put up here. Hopefully it'll be somewhere around here and you can click on it and watch it. So with that said, I'm out. Peace.